Good day, everyone. I'm your moderator, Lee Judge, and welcome to today's webinar entitled Agent Scripting Has Changed Forever, brought to you by Jacada. As a note, to honor the privacy of our attendees, only your name will appear in the attendee window. Our presenter today is Oren Halevi, Head of Product Management at Jacada. Today we'll introduce you to Jacada's easy-to-use graphical designer that creates scripts with clicks and not code that can publish in real time to your agents and cross-channel to self-service. Also, at the end of the presentation, there will be a question and answer session, so please feel free to type your questions in the Q&A window at any time during the event. Again, to honor the privacy of our attendees, only your name will appear in the attendee window. To kick off the webinar, first we'll have a brief word from our Jacada CMO, Chris Dutoy. Chris?
Great. Thank you, Lee, and good morning and good afternoon to everybody joining this webinar today. It's an exciting webinar because you can actually see Oren building agent scripts here in just a few minutes, and you'll see him build really entire interactions in front of you. But we're going to take it a little step further and show you how you can deploy those scripts across channels. So just 2 slides to quickly set the context, and then we'll get you straight into the product demonstration. Now, many of you may be wondering, why do we talk about cross-channel interactions and why you're seeing a slide called digital transformation when the webinar is agent scripting. But the reason we like to touch upon digital transformation is you need to realize that companies are undergoing digital transformation and their customers are becoming digital. And to talk about agent scripting without supporting the shift to digital would be a very myopic view, if you will, about agent scripting, because agent scripting needs to be broader and support the organization's digital transformation efforts. And what we hear from our prospects and our view of the market as we talk to people, looking left to right, your customers are expecting full continuity as they channel hop. And it's not just hopping between channels, it's hopping from both the digital channel to the voice channel. And your customers are expecting continuity of that interaction. They're also expecting consistency across all these different touch points. We did a webinar with Ventana Research a couple of weeks ago, and they pointed out a great example, maybe an extreme example of a bank in the UK, that your account balance was different depending on the channel you came on. And clearly your agents need to have a very consistent view across, the same view that the other channels are offering to make sure that you're not giving that contradictory information to your customers. And finally, with digital transformation, the companies are trying to take those expensive voice calls and pivot them into the digital channel. But for those calls that do still come into your agents and your contact center, they need to be personalized. In other words, you need to offer conversations, not scripts. Now, the inhibitors that we see trying to reach this kind of state of a good customer experience is that today your voice and digital channels remain disconnected. And we see this all the time when your customers on your web self-service site and that experience breaks down and they call your 1-800 number and they speak to your agent. Often your agents have no context as to what the customer was doing prior to that call, and inevitably they have to repeat themselves. And it's just a very sort of robotic process and not a personalized conversation because you don't have that context. Secondly, interactions are not cross-channel ready, and we know this. Every channel operates in a silo, from your IVR to your website to your agent desktop, social, kiosk. They're all siloed, and those interactions are not cross-channel ready. And you'll see today why we say that agent scripting, you can't just think of it of the agent desktop. You do need to take a broader approach and see how you can provide that consistency. And finally, the IVR, which really 82% of your interactions are still coming into your IVR. It's an important part of the process, but it's an analog device. It doesn't really support that digital or mobile engagement, and that's something that has to be addressed as well. So what Oren's going to show you now is how you can really address these issues and build these cross-channel interactions. And yes, the focus will be agent scripting and building scripts for your agent, but hopefully you'll get a sense and appreciate how you can actually take these scripts and push them to your consumers as well, and hopefully improve the self-service capability. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Oren, who will be our host for the rest of the webinar. Oren?
Thank you, Chris, for setting the stage. As I'm sharing my screen, I want to take you through demonstration today of the interaction designer. And I want to do it through a story. The slide that you see here represents a journey of a customer. And as Chris mentioned before, we're able to start a process, a journey in an IVR, in a voice, move into the digital world, then continue back talking to an agent that assists finally with the request over a voice channel. And doing all that without losing the context and everything that was already entered through this conversation. So what I'm going to demonstrate today is we're going to create a script for your agent that will guide him through a technical process. But the process didn't start when the agent called the customer to get to help him with the request. The process actually started before. The customer dialed into the IVR and was prompt with an option. This is one of the things that we offer, prompt with an option to move into a digital channel for assisted service. He then received a link, continue with our digital visual IVR, try to resolve the issue himself, but failed. Then he asked for a callback, and at this point, he reached the agent that actually used the script. So with that, I'm going to jump right over into our interaction designer. So this is the tool that will assist you to create content that will be published either on your agent desktop and assist your agents, guide your agents through a flow of a call. The same script or process can also be deployed to multiple channels, either to a mobile or web and others, but this is a different conversation. Today we are all about agent scripting. So I'm going to start to create an interaction. I'm starting with an empty canvas, nothing on it, and as we said in the, as I showed in the slide before, we are calling the customer. So we already know in this case who the customer is. So I better start with bringing the information from our CRM or other data center that we have. So I'm going to add something we call an integration point. An integration point is a very simple way to call a service and bring in all the information that we need or activate a service on the back end. So I'm going to use a process called get full flow. This is just a simulation of an exposed service in your CRM environment, and I'm going to give it a name. Then I need to choose where to store this information, and I've already created an object called customer info. That's all I need to do in order to create my first element. And as you can see, it is represented with a box here, a gray box. Next thing I want to do is move into create a welcome screen that the agent will welcome the customer. So I'm going to create a page. This page editor allows me to use drag and drop objects. It could be questions, it could be choices and decisions, and it could be just visual elements such as a text paragraph. So in a very simple way, I'm just going to say welcome, and we already brought the customer information. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use a short code in order to bring a list of variables available for me to use. And I'm probably going to use the first name. So I'm just going to start typing and use a field out of the object I have just created. I'm also going to add a yes/no question. And since we brought the information from the customer journey, we know what the problem is, but let's ask the customer anyway. I'm going to add here a question. And in the question, I'm going to say, is this true? What will happen here is I'm actually going to create a page that will contain a welcome text and a yes/no question for the agent to use. I'm going to click Create Page. I'm going to put a title. And that's all I need to do in order to create my page. Let's review what we already did. So we have an integration point that brings back the customer information. And just after that, we have a welcome page. And you can already see on your right side, this is the simulator. On the right side, you can see the page I have just created. And you can see that the page is actually connected to real data. This is a simulated data, of course. And we're bringing back the information. This is the text I see, and you can see that I can already use the page. And on top of that, I have a split in my flow. So we added a yes/no question. Is this an internet issue? If it's a yes, we'll continue on the left side. If no, we'll continue on the right side. So if it's a no, I'm just going to add a very simple thank you. Of course, in the real world, we'll ask if there is anything else we want to do and continue with the script. But this is just a simplified version of the script. So I have another element here which represents the end of my script. On the left side, I have when the customer answers yes, so he has an internet connection issue. We're going to present additional customer information. So we're going to create another new page. And I'm going to enter in some additional information. We already had the first name before. Let's do this with some additional information as well. And all this information is coming from the data object that I have pulled from my back-end CRM. Let's call it customer info. Okay, so I have another new page called customer info. So if I will say yes and click continue in my script, you can see that I have now the new information that I have created. And of course, I can add additional information and design the page anywhere I see using a very, very simple design tool that allows me to either use out-of-the-box themes or fully customize the way the page looks just by using standard technologies such as CSS and JavaScript. So after the customer info, we're going to add something called a decision. What's a decision? A decision is logical split in the flow that is based on values that either we collected through the script navigation or brought from back-end services. So in this case, we're going to add a decision that is based on the balance of the customer. So we're going to say check balance. And we're going to add a condition. So a condition is usually very similar to an equation, right? So on the left side, I'm going to put the balance that we pulled before. And in this case, instead of equals, I'm going to say greater than. And on the right side, I'm going to put a value, $1,000 in this case. So what we have here is a new element called check balance that will take me to the left side if the balance is greater than $1,000. Will take me to the right if it's lower than that. And if it's on the right side, I'm just going to connect it to the end of my script. Of course, again, in the real world, we'll do some more checking. We can activate very powerful services. For example, we can check if there is no internet connection in the area, in the neighborhood of this customer. If this is the case, then we don't need to do anything, probably just wait. So again, I'm checking the balance. If it's greater than $1,000, I'm going to continue. And I'm going to say, again, I can see that your balance is high. Let's say, put the balance here. Do you want to pay it now? And as we did before, I'm going to add a yes/no question. Okay, so you can see that my script is evolving and becoming bigger and bigger. Of course, I can zoom in and out to see more room if I want to. Let me show you some other things that we have in the designer. If I'll switch into the middle tab here on the right side, I see a list of elements and variables. The elements is a list of pages and other navigation elements that I have created in the flow. And of course, in a very large script, as we usually see in real customers, this will be a long list, and I can very easily filter the list just so I'll see, it will be quick for me to find. I can click on the element and very quickly see where the element is on the flow. The script has also very powerful functionality. It allows me to store values in variables and do some calculation using functions and formula very similar to using Excel. So just by selecting a formula, I can easily doing some calculation inside my script without using any code. So I'm going to continue with my flow, and as my last step in the page, if the customer wants to pay, I'm just going to add some input fields. So I'm going to say collect the credit card info. So I'm going to say name on card. Agent scripting is PCI compliance, meaning we have full capability to decide if information doesn't need to be stored or audited. This is especially important when we collect credit card information. So I'm going to choose not to audit the answer here, as I don't want to store any credit card information in my database. So I'm going to add another question here, and I'm going to say, so I've created a simple page with 2 questions. Of course, there are additional, more powerful controls, such as multiple selections that allows you to select, for example, multiple accounts from the customer, or do a very complex display of information using a collection display that allows you to show tabular information of multiple values. So I've created my last page, and if I want, I can connect it to the end just to put some affinity to it. So that's all I need to do. So in maybe 12 minutes, I have created a full flow of resolving customer information. The script that I've created here can now be, in a click of a button, published into our Jazz server. When it is published, it is available to use by your agent immediately. So if I'll click publish, you can see that I can put some version to allow version controls for multiple developers. I can put some description, and I can also decide to which channel I want this script to be deployed. And you can see that out of the box, we allow you to deploy the script both to the agent app and to the self-service, either on the web or on mobile. So customers can immediately start using this script. So I'm going to click publish. Let's see how it looks in the real world. So this is my agent application. Of course, as I said, this is an out-of-the-box design, and you can customize the colors, the logo, everything that is displayed or not in a very easy customization tool. And you can see that a list of scripts is immediately available for the agent to use. Another option is to use what we call the screen pop. So if a customer calls, we can recognize, if we can recognize the call intent or the reason for the call, we can integrate with your CTI or other provider and pop a script immediately for the agent. So the script looks like this. Remember, this is the script that we've created. And I'm an agent, and I can run through the script. And I want to pay it now. I'm a good customer, and I can put here my information and my credit card number, which I won't show. Once I click next, in a real world, we would have created another integration point that would call the credit card gateway and immediately collect this credit card for this specific flow. Other things that we can do with the agent desktop is search for history of a customer. So if we know who is the customer, we can search by any parameter, such as the name, the phone number, the email, etc., and display a list of historical interaction with this customer. So the agent can have a full display, a 360 display of the agent. Additional things that we can do directly from the agent app is do our interact. I'm sorry, not is collaborate with the customer. This tool allows us to share information such as PDFs or anything else directly with the customer. Think of it as a room, a secured room where information can be shared with a specific customer. So this is another thing or optional functionality that we provide with the agent. And if I'll go back for just a second to my flow, And remember that we have started the flow with a self-service conversation or interaction. I'm going to very quickly, just to explain the capability, I'll create a second flow. The second flow is a flow that I intend to deploy on my self-service, either mobile or web. I'm going to use some graphic here because this is something the customer will see. So I'm going to use an image inventory that I have. I just put a simple logo here and shift it around. And I can put any text I want here just to give the customers some welcome information. So in exactly the same way as creating the agent script, I am now creating what we call customer or self-service script. And I'm not going to go far because you probably understand the idea. I'm just going to add one more or two more elements here, so you'll get the capability. I'm going to create a menu here. A menu allow me to do to split the interaction to any number of choices that I want. So I'm going to do 3 here. The first option is no internet. The second one is account issue. And the third one, let's say something else. And I can either display this as a list of buttons. I can also display it as a matrix. And if this is the case, I can actually put some images if I want to make it look a little more, a little nicer. So I'm going to call this main menu. Again, immediately I have all the choices that I have created. All right. I'm going to end this flow with another new element called contact us. Contact us allow your customer to decide that he needs some help. We can provide multiple options to connect. So I decide that I don't have chat, for example. So I will only provide a call, an email, and a callback. And in this case, I'm going to connect all options into this menu. All right, so what we have here is a welcome, a main menu, and then a contact us element. One nice thing that we can do when we create mobile, also of course, for agent scripting, is we can share it with other people. So as we develop, we want to see how the information look on my desktop or on my mobile phone, etc. I can just copy the link here and share it with anyone, with myself, or send it to anyone I want, and the script will be immediately available for anyone to use. So in this case, I'm just going to simulate to see how how my flow looks like on a mobile phone. So you can see this is the first screen I've created, and then I have the 3-option menu, and then I have the contact us that allow me to connect through email or ask someone to call me back, or I can also provide a phone number, a unique phone number for each customer so that he will call directly into a specific number that we choose. Of course, the best thing for you to better understand how the tool looks like is just to register to our free trial. You can see the link here on my screen. Just go to the Jacada.com website and choose the Jacada Agent Scripting product. From there, you can register to an online trial. All the tools that you saw here with the interaction designer are available for on the trial. So you can start scripting immediately. If you choose then to become a full customer, all the information that you have created in your trial will be immediately, of course, available for you to continue your interaction designing. That was my demonstration. I hope you enjoyed it.
All right. Well, thank you, Oren, for your valuable insights and clear demonstration of creating effortless cross-channel interactions with the Jacada Interaction Designer. Due to the high participation in the webinar, we're going to answer as many questions as possible from the Q&A window and respond to the remaining ones individually after the event. We'll now begin to answer questions from the Q&A window, the ones that have already been typed there. And Oren, I'll pick some. If you see some you like to address, please interrupt me. The first question here says, what are the primary business drivers for implementing agent scripting?
Thank you, Lee. It actually depends. It's a good question. It depends on the organization, and it changes from organization to organization. If we look at the hard ROI numbers, we can easily identify the reducing the average handling time, improve the first call resolution, and significantly reduce the agent training. Those are the main ROIs that we can identify. There are additional drivers that I can talk about, such as improving the customer experience, avoiding legal or compliance issues by ensuring the proper steps are followed.
Okay, great. The next question here says, is this a cloud or on-premises solution?
So again, great question. We can work both as in the cloud, like the demo that you just seen. This is our cloud solution. The same product can be deployed as an on-premises server and run directly from your servers.
Okay. The next question here says, can the scripts integrate with SAP?
Yes, of course. Your script can integrate with SAP, all your and other business applications, of course. Similar to what I show with the integration points. This will provide, of course, a very personalized conversation with your customer, pulling the information directly and using it, and not using hard code script. Of course, the script can also update the system of record by sending back information back into the SAP system or any other solution.
Okay. As I see questions coming in, there are a few that are being placed into the chat window. So if you have placed questions in the chat window, please put those also in the Q&A window so that Oren can see those and that we can try to address those during the event. So please add your questions to the Q&A window rather than the chat window. The next question here, Oren, says, the question is, in the beginning you mentioned that this same product builds interactions for agents and customers, but how would you make it available to your customers?
Okay, so there are multiple ways to do that. You can deploy the interaction to your website as a frame or part of your pages or your website. You can also, and this is, I guess, more interestingly, deploy it to your voice caller by integrate with what we call the visual IVR. This allows people calling in to pivot back into the digital channel and use the interaction you just created.
Okay. Let's see. There's a question here, and you kind of mentioned something about visual IVR, which I think there's a couple of questions in the Q&A window about that. The person asks, how is the CTI handled from the IVR? Is it calling the script URL where IVR parameters values can be passed to the scripting? You see that question in there?
No, since I share my screen, I don't see.
Okay, it's a general. I guess it's a question. There's a couple about IVR and interacting with the scripting.
Okay, so we expose public APIs on our server that allows the IVR or the CTI to launch interactions or receive back information. If you want to include information in the interaction itself, you can either add it to the launched URL, or the interaction can call a service and pull the information while it is navigating. Okay,
great. Let's see, we're going to ask one or two more questions and then allow our attendees to get back to their busy days. We have a question regarding Zendesk, and they want to know, can the script be fed into the customer or fed info for the customer and issue from the case? So I guess they're asking about Zendesk integration.
Actually, this is a great question, as I have a good answer. In the Zendesk App Store, you can find an out-of-the-box application, Jacada agent scripting application that basically create a template that integrates directly to your Zendesk account. It can create tickets, it can update tickets, it can show you a script in the page of the ticket, so allow the agent to see both the Zendesk page and the agent scripting frame as he answered the ticket.
Okay. I have another question here that somewhat resembles, I guess, some things we would talk about in our Jacada Unified Agent Desktop type webinars, but this one is pertinent. Their question says, does this program allow you to access other windows from other programs and websites during the flow for the agent?
Yeah, sure. We have, so if the agent scripting is embedded within another application or page, it can communicate using standard JavaScript events that actually on our side, without knowing any scripting. So we have an element we called client event that actually invoke a JavaScript event and allow you to communicate with other frames on your page.
Okay, great. And our last question here, we're going to wrap up, Oren. The person asked, what is the deployment time?
So literally, you can be up and running in days. And as I show you in the demo, you can build script in a matter of hours if you want. Of course, additional integration may require additional time, but once you start building interaction, you can immediately deploy them to your agent, so and they're immediately available.
Okay, great. Well, this concludes our webinar entitled Agent Scripting Has Changed Forever. Thanks again, Oren, our head of product development here at Jacada. If there are any of the questions that we were unable to answer during today's session, we'll respond directly to you after the event. We hope that you've gained valuable insight into designing cross-channel agent and self-service interactions with Jacada's solution and how easily you can utilize it to enhance your organization's customer service. A replay of the event will be available soon on Jacada.com, along with the download link to the presentation. Again, thank you for attending today. Please visit us again at Jacada.com and have a wonderful day.